Hey guys, my name's Rodney and I'm just big boned. It is day 54 of my weight loss journey, and today I'm going to bring you some more weight loss psychology. Now, you may remember from the last time I did some weight loss psychology, you'll remember that my background is I'm actually a trained counselor. So I've really been focusing on the mind game of weight loss this time around as the most important thing, because I believe where most people get let down is all up here in the mind. So I'm going to be sharing some of the things that I'm sort of thinking about and focusing on with you that maybe help you in your weight loss journey. And today I'm going to talk all about willpower. Now, it's something that gets spoken a lot about when people are on weight loss journeys or trying to lose weight or do anything of that nature. They talk about willpower and just having to have willpower and needing willpower. And this is the absolute wrong thing to be thinking about and to be focusing on. It's actually quite dangerous to your weight loss journey. Why? Because whenever you have a relapse and either do something or not do something or eat something that you don't want to be eating, that's not in your plan, you're then going to say, well, I just didn't have any willpower. I am just weak person. I need to be stronger, all that sort of stuff. And that's quite negative. Then feeds the idea that you're weak, that you need strength, which you don't need strength and you're not weak. So the more negative you are about yourself, the more you're going to beat yourself up and you're going to come off track and not get back on it again. So if the idea of willpower just adds more negativity in your life, then what do we do instead? All right. Firstly, I believe there is no such thing as willpower. All right. What willpower is, or what we believe willpower to be, is just simply habits. That's all it is. And habits are formed in the brain. So whenever we learn a new behavior, between two brain cells, a little pathway is created. That's called a neural pathway. And the more that behavior is reinforced and repeated and practiced, so practice makes perfect, the more that neural pathway strengthens and grows. And so what happens over time when we do these things over and over again, they become habit and they become second nature, and we do it without even thinking. So this is why if you've been reaching for donuts every single time you are upset over the course of many years, you then do it automatically without thinking, because the neural pathway is so thick. So how do we reduce those neural pathways? Bad news is we can't. We cannot reduce those neural pathways. They're fixed, okay? But all's not lost. What we need to do is we need to create some new neural pathways and strengthen them. And eventually they're going to outweigh the old neural pathways. So let me explain. Let's say you want to build a habit that you go for a walk every single day. When you first do it, the first morning you go to do it, it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to think about it. You have to drag yourself out of bed. You're going to have to, find your walking shoes and everything, and then you do it. Okay? Then you do it the next morning and the next morning and the next morning. And eventually what you're going to learn, what you're going to see, is that it starts becoming automatic. It starts to become part of your routine. That neural pathway is strengthened to the point where you were doing it automatically. And this is how we build these new habits, and this is how we're going to stay on track. Now, part of this whole process of change, and that's a really interesting thing, that is something I can talk about in another one, Actually, if that's a video you want to see, write change in the comments below, okay? but there's a whole model of change. An important part of that is relapse. Okay, eventually, during this changing of behavior, you will relapse and default to old patterns and behaviors. Okay, that is normal. All right, it's gonna happen. Prepare for it, include it in your plan. Okay, but don't think you're weak or beat yourself up whenever you do it, because it's part of the process. Okay, reason why that relapse is inevitable is because those neural pathways that we created are thick and strong, and eventually when you are at a moment where, I don't want to say moment of weakness, what I want to say is at a moment where you're probably operating on autopilot, that's when you're going to default to your autopilot settings. Okay, until such time that your new autopilot settings are built in and reinforced. Okay, so how can we actually do this? It sounds really tough. It's actually not that tough. You don't need to be strong to do this. You don't need to, concentrate more and try and build up those neural pathways. What you need is consistency. And the more you do something, the more you practice a behavior, the more you reach for the apple instead of the donut, the more second nature it's going to become. All right, so how do we get there? First of all, identify the behaviors you want to instill. All right, so get a piece of paper and write down what it is that you want to be able to do. Do you want to be exercising more? Do you want to be eating certain foods? Do you want to be eating less of other certain foods? All right, write down those behaviors and then you put them into your plan. Then you get your plan and you stick it up where you can see it every single day. Either put it up on your wall when you first wake up of a morning, on the back of the bathroom door, on your phone, and you can save the screensaver and look at, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. And what this will do is it will keep these behaviors top of mind. Okay, you will remind yourself every single day, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. Okay, and if it's something like exercise, actually plan for that time, book that in and do that. All right, if it's all about eating certain types of foods, make sure you set up your environment where they're within easy reach, because as humans we're going to take the path of least resistance. So if you're sort of not thinking about it and you have a food in front of you, make sure it's the apple, not the donut, because you're going to grab that a lot easier rather than having to get up and look for the stuff that you don't want to have. All right, so make sure you include these into your plan and make sure it's accessible. Okay, and then the last part you need to do is do things mindfully. Okay, so think about what you're doing, take yourself through the process of doing it, and not do things on automatic pilot. If you notice you're starting to become on automatic pilot, stop, close your eyes, take some breaths, and come back to the moment. Okay, this includes with eating. So quite often, how often do you grab something and just start eating it, and before you realize, oh, I'm actually eating something? When it's time for eating, eat mindfully. Stop, have a look at what you're about to eat, look at it, notice it, give it a sniff if you want to, and think about it before you start eating it. Because if this is something you don't want to eat, you look at it, and this is when your plan, your goal will come into effect. You'll start questioning yourself, do I really want this? Do I really need to eat it? Is there something else I can do? And you're more likely to put it down and grab something that you do want to eat. Okay, so identifying what you want to do, make it a plan, make it easy and accessible, and do things mindfully, and that is going to help you to be able to start making these changes. And you won't have to rely on willpower and beat yourself up ever again. And then when you do relapse, it's normal. Just say, okay, cool, I've done that. That's not in my plan, but that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to move on and I'm going to start doing things I want to do. So I hope you found that interesting. This is something I've been doing in my journey, and I'm not relying on willpower to make me be able to do things I need to do to fulfill my plan. Because I'm doing it every single day, it's becoming habit. I wake up of a morning now and instantly I start getting ready to go out for my walk, because I've built that habit over the last 54 days, and it's not a struggle anymore, and it's serving me well. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe and follow me on my journey. I need all the help and support I can get, and the support I'm getting from you guys is fantastic. I wouldn't have made it this far without you all. Just hit subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and you'll get notifications whenever I post up a video. Thanks again for watching, and just remember, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned.